Christina Scalera from the Contract Shop here to discuss what your photography client must have in it. Just a reminder, even though I'm a lawyer, I'm not your lawyer, so this isn't legal advice. But if you do want to know what I look for in every contract that I sign when I'm hiring a photographer, or what's in my photography contract templates, then this is the video for you. First, in any photography contract, I am always concerned about who owns the copyright to the images that are produced. When you take photos for a client, you create those photos, and those photos are automatically protected by copyright. But who owns that copyright is up for discussion within every client's contract. So by default, usually the photographer holds on to the copyright if there is no contract, because the photographer is the one who's actually snapping that photo and capturing it. But as a client, personally, I like to own my copyright, so I make sure that's a term that's included in my photography contract. If you're a photographer, it's important to tell the client who is going to own the copyright at the end of the day. Is it going to be you as the photographer? Are you going to sell that copyright to the client for an additional fee? Or are you just going to throw it in with the cost of the session? It's up to you to decide what's right for you and your business and for your clients. But the important thing here is that you determine before you work with your clients who owns that copyright. The next most important thing that I am always looking for in a contract with a photographer is how much and when the photographer gets paid. If you watched any of my previous videos, you may have seen my one all about payment plans and how you can implement them in your business. So this step is particularly important if you do offer any kind of payment plan for your clients, because maybe you're offering services that cost several $1,000s and breaking that down into payments that are more affordable for your clients. So I want to know before I start working with a photographer what I'm in for, what the damage is, so that I can budget for that appropriately. And I know all of your other clients will want to know as well. Plus, if you do offer a payment plan, it's important to set the expectation of when those payments are due right from the outset in that contract with your client. Finally, the third must-have in your photography client contracts is some kind of model release. Because if you are taking photographs of people or famous property, so like a famous horse or something, you have to have some kind of model release if you want to display those images elsewhere. So we talked in the first step about who owns the copyright. If you don't own the copyright, you give it away to the client. It's theirs to keep, do whatever they want with. But if you are keeping that copyright because you decided to hold on to it, you're going to resell some of the photos as stock photos, you're going to repurpose them for whatever purpose you might want to use those photos for in the future, that's fine. You decided that from the outset, that's what you decided on, but you still would need some kind of model release if you are taking pictures of people or, like I said, famous property. And that's because we respect the privacy and the likeness of other people. And so while they might not have any kind of problem with you taking their photo, in fact, that's what they want, that's what they're hiring you for, they also might not want to see their photos splashed across an advertisement in their favorite magazine or a billboard near their house. Or maybe they do, and you have permission for that on a model release. So there's no argument later as to whether that was allowed or not. So just to recap, the three things that I am looking for in every photography client contract is a copyright assignment or release. So who owns that copyright? Do I own it as the client, or do you own it as the photographer? And I just get to use those photos for certain things like Facebook profile photos or, on my marketing, but I'm not allowed to resell those photos. Like, what are the terms of ownership over those photos? That's the first thing I'm looking for. The second thing I'm looking for is how and how much do I need to pay the photographer, and when do those payments need to take place? And the third thing I'm looking for is, do I need a model release? Am I taking photos of people or some kind of famous pet or horse or something like that, where I would need a model release to include pictures of this person in my marketing portfolio or future work or any kind of ad I might be putting out there, or if I'm selling the photo as stock photography? I've given you three things here today, but if you want a list of everything I look out for in contracts, or what I include in my own contract templates at the Contract Shop, make sure you go to rocksolidcontract.com and you pick up your contract checklist. This blueprint will give you everything you need to get started with a rockin' contract. And don't forget, if you like this video, if you like what we're talking about here and you want more of it, Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss anything and so that I know you like it and will continue to create great content like this for you. I'm Christina, and I'll see you soon.